the other topic we wanted to talk about that you had brought up that you encounter a lot or work a lot with is the idea of building a team and building more specifically a resilient team.
Yes.
So tell us some of your thoughts about that and how you kind of work through that with business owners.
Well, I think you can have a business like you said. You're either going to employ people, or if you're a solopreneur, you might not have employees, but chances are you are surrounded by vendors, advisors, contractors. You have a lot more people in your orbit than you might think. And so even a solopreneur isn't doing every last thing precisely by themselves. We all have, thank God, accountants, business attorneys, a graphic designer,
Yeah.
someone who handles our web and our IT. And so, and I'll transition to employees here in a sec, but even if you're a solopreneur, make sure you have a really good team in place, professionals who help fill in the gaps in your knowledge. I need financial planning. I need business advice from my attorney. I need really good insurance agents who make sure I have the coverage that I need for my risk management, and so on and so forth. So there's no reason you can't have a team of advisors in place who help elevate your business, even if you don't have employees. Now, if you do have employees, there's a couple of things I would really encourage people to do. One is it's really important to think about the roles that you need people to play, what kind of skill sets are typical to those roles, and match a person's nature to the right role. If you think an extrovert can happily sit behind a desk in isolation all day and crank tasks, like no one's going to be happy.
Right.
And if you think an introvert is going to go out and do outside sales for you, nobody's going to be happy. And I think, part of what I love about business owners, and I am this way myself, I'm a relentless optimist. And so we're always seeing the potential of what could be. And that's what makes us business owners. I mean, that's the business gene. I think the other side of that is that sometimes we can overestimate the that someone has in order to do a job, because we like them. We want them to have a place in our company, even if the place that we have available doesn't really suit them.
Yeah.
So,
So do you encourage business owners in that regard with employees? Because I think you're right. I think there's the tendency to be a little bit optimistic in terms of the potential there. I see that all the time with business owners myself, and a lot of times I'm just it might not have a finance or accounting element, but I have I get to be because I'm interacting with them. I'm somewhat of a spectator, right? And I'm like,
yes,
that's not what I'm seeing, but what do I know? I'm just standing here.
Yeah.
But do you encourage them then in that regard to, what's the best way to make sure you as the business owner, your own kind of eternal optimist mindset is not misleading you? Is it to truly sit down and talk and engage more with that employee to see if they really have the will? How do you advise with employees specifically? How do you advise business owners to approach that so that it's not just their optimistic thinking, like you said, and then the employee turns out, even if there was the potential for the introvert to be a little bit more extroverted, there wasn't the will there to do that,
I think there's a few things. I mean, starting with the hiring process, I would have more than one person interview a candidate.
Okay.
I think it's always very interesting to have different types of people interview an applicant, because they are going to catch different things. And if you can kind of reconcile 2 or 3 different points of view and still at the end of the day come out with the conclusion that this person looks like a good fit, you're going to make a stronger hire. And this goes back to the whole concept of an experiment, because you really don't know for sure whether someone's going to be a good fit until you test drive them.
Sure.
Right. I mean, I remember the company that I worked for before I started my own practice, and I would interview someone. Their resume would be great. They would give a very solid interview. I would hire them, and I would tell them exactly what the job entailed, and maybe the particular difficulties of some of the accounts, the complexities that we would have them working on. And they'd say, oh, yeah, I love to be busy. I hate being bored. There's nothing worse than watching the clock. And then 2 days into the job, I see them like running for the parking lot with their mug, right? And like never to be heard from again. Yeah. So it's never going to be a guarantee when you hire someone. But what you can do is your due diligence. So your due diligence includes have more than one person interview the applicant. Due diligence, if you'd like, might include behavioral analysis. I do DISC assessments for my clients when they are hiring. They reach their top 2 or 3 candidates, and we do DISC assessments to see what are their natural skills, what are their natural strengths, make sure that they align with the role that we're hiring for. Because we want to set them up to be successful. We don't want to set up people for frustration. I have a statistic on my website. The average American works 90,000 hours over the course of their life. So I really feel like I'm on some sort of a mission, not only to help business owners not go crazy and to feel really fulfilled by those 90,000 hours. And also when you employ someone, in as much as you have control over it, you need to help other people find success and fulfillment in what they're doing. So that starts by the right tush in the right seat.
Right.
And then the next step of due diligence is making sure that you are articulating your expectations. And this is another kind of tip that I give all of my clients. When you are hiring someone, make sure you have milestones for progress, because it's been a while. If you're a business owner, it's probably been a while since you've worked for somebody else. I actually remember my first day of employment ever. And you're walking into an office that is foreign to you. You don't even know where the bathroom is. You don't know where the kitchen is. I mean, we're talking the most rudimentary stuff that makes your day comfortable is new to you. You're meeting all of these new people. You're trying to put faces with names. You're trying to learn the ins and outs of your job. You want to make a good impression. There's a lot going on in the psyche of a new employee. And so if we can set up milestones and say, okay, Anthony, Sal, it's your first day on the job. I want to let you know that in the first 15 days, we're going to have you concentrate on X and expect you to have reasonable proficiency after those 2 weeks. The next thing we'll have you work on from day 16 to 30 is going to be Y, and so on and so forth. So by the time they're done with their 90-day probationary period, they know from the start kind of what the arc of their progress should look like and how they should be focusing their attention, instead of just putting them in a position where they're triaging everything new,
right,
and then being frustrated that they don't seem to be gaining any traction. I see employers set new employees up for failure over and over and over again. And I think we just need to use our imaginations a little bit and remember what it's like to be new on the job.
Yeah, that's a good point.
No, that's a very good point.